Hey guys, this is Tom again, and in this video I'm going to walk you through Lab 1-3. And this lab has us creating a mortgage amortization table. So it's a pretty useful skill for your everyday life. It's not necessarily directly related to accounting, but we do have loans where we create amortization tables. You might remember from Intermediate Accounting 2, we set up bond amortization tables for when a company sells bonds. But the nice thing about working with or setting up an amortization table in Excel is that it gives you an opportunity to work with a little bit with present value calculations in Excel. It allows you to work with copying and pasting and doing lots of different things in Excel. So I think it's a useful exercise to kind of build up those skills. So the first thing we want to do in this problem, or this lab, doesn't require us to download any files. We're just going to take the information from the problem and we're going to set up the amortization table. So the problem gives us that the annual interest rate is 6%. And first Excel thing that we can pick up here is that I typed in the label for the interest rate here, but we can't read it because it doesn't fit to the cell. So in Excel, you can make this bigger by hovering over the border between columns A and B and double clicking. And that automatically resizes the size of column A so you can read the variable name. Okay, so the annual interest rate is 6%, and we want to calculate monthly mortgage payments. So we have a 30-year mortgage where the mortgage payments could be made monthly. So we want to split this interest rate up into what the interest rate will be per monthly payment. So we're going to say the monthly interest rate is going to be, and this is an opportunity for us to learn formulas. So this monthly interest rate, I'm going to type a formula in here. I'm going to say this monthly interest rate is the 6% divided by 12 months. Okay, so our monthly interest rate is 0.005. If we express this in percentage terms, we can format this. We go up here, we click the percentage formatting here under the number tab on the home ribbon, and it's saying it's 1% because it's rounding. We could make this bigger. We could expand the decimals by saying, by hitting this button here, and now our monthly interest rate is 0.5%. Okay. Our number of periods, again, another opportunity to use a formula. We have a 30-year mortgage, so we're going to say 30 years times 12 months is 360 periods. The amount of the loan in the problem is $200,000. Right? We want to make this look nice, so we're going to click this comma formatting here, and we don't want the full decimal places, so we can reduce the decimal places by clicking this button here. And now we can figure out the monthly payment. So we're going to use a function from Excel. We're going to click Insert Function here, and we're going to calculate payment. So we want, no, we don't want that. Let's try, I think it's called PMT. So sometimes you just got to search through these or Google and see exactly what you want to use. So we want this time value of money function in Excel. It's called PMT. I'm going to click OK. And then it's asking us for the inputs to the calculation. So we want a rate. So our rate is going to be, and remember, we're trying to calculate this on a monthly basis. So we're going to use the monthly interest rate here, which is 0.5%. The number of periods is going to be 360, right? The present value of the loan is $200,000. We don't have the future value. It's not what we need for this formula. We can leave that blank. And the type is this a is the payment made at the beginning of the period or is it made at the end of the period? It defaults to the end of the period, so you can leave it blank for type here, but if you ever wanted to do like a present value of an annuity due, you would change this to 1, and it tells you how to do that down here in the instructions. We click OK, and then it tells us our payment is $1,199.10 per month. Okay, it's coming up as a negative number, and it's because we set our present value to a positive number. So if we want to kind of make this look nicer, we can just put a negative sign in front of the PMT function in the formula, and then we have something that looks a little nicer here. All right, so we have everything we need now to set up our payments, or to set up our amortization table. So our amortization table is going to look something like this. We're going to have monthly payment number in this first column. We're going to have the beginning balance. We're going to have and again, you can resize these so you can see what you need to see. And then we're going to have our monthly payment. And if we want, we can figure out how much of our payment is going towards principal or towards interest. So we're going to say towards interest, and we're going to say towards principal. Oops, misspelled that there. Go back and change this. And then we're going to have ending principal, or ending balance. Okay. So these are our columns of our amortization table. We're going to have payments 1 through 360. All right, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Another cool thing in Excel is that you can type, for instance here, I want to label all these rows numbers 1 through 360. Well, in Excel, Excel is smart and it picks up what you're trying to do. So if you highlight the first 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3, you can go down to the bottom of this highlighted range, and the cursor turns into like a little black cross. So you can grab the cells now and just drag them down, and Excel recognizes that we're doing a count, so it's counting for us as we drag this down, and we're going to drag it down to until we get to 360 payments. So I went too far. I'm going back up here, and now we're at 360 payments. So we got all of our rows set up. Another cool thing you can do in Excel, you'll notice like when we scroll down to say payment 29, we kind of lose the top of the sheet. We can't see what's going on. So we can do view, and what we want to do is freeze panes. We want to freeze the rows at the top so they always stay on the screen. And so the way we do this is we're going to put this right here in cell B8. So we want to freeze the cells at this point. We're going to say freeze panes. Right? So now when we scroll down, we keep that top row in place, and so we can still see our information. Let's start setting up the calculation. So the beginning balance of our loan is $200,000, and we're going to do an absolute reference here, because if we happen to copy and paste this formula, we don't want this formula to change. Right? So we got $200,000 for the beginning balance. The monthly payment is $1199.10, right? So we're going to do an absolute reference again, and now we want to figure out how much of this is going towards interest. And so we can use the interest function. So no, not what we want. Bear with me, guys. Interest. Okay, so now we want this formula. It's called IPMT, and it says returns the interest payment for a given period for an investment based on. So we can ignore that investment explanation. We can use this to figure out how much of our payment is interest. So we're going to say the rate is 0.5%. Number of periods. actually, I misspoke here. We're not using the correct function, so we want to, let's alter this a little bit. Let's think about this here for a second, guys. So 1199.10 so we want to do, you see, sometimes it just takes a little bit of searching here in Excel. Let's see, what's this one? Returns the interest paid during, that's not what we want. Alright guys, so I think I'm overthinking this here. So we don't even need to use a function. This is something that's very simple. So the amount towards interest is, it's just, you know, just as we would calculate a bond amortization table, we would just say what's the balance and what's the interest rate. So we can just say the current balance is $200,000. It looks like I got an extra equal sign in there. And we're going to multiply that by the monthly interest rate, which is right here. B2 0.5%. So we're going to copy and paste this formula, and so we're going to want to keep this reference locked. We want to do an absolute reference here, and so that when we copy and paste the formula, we're always doing the right 0.5% calculation. Okay. So towards interest here is $1,000. Okay, so our balance was $200,000. 0.5% per month goes towards interest, and therefore our total interest is 1,000. So I'm going to format this in the same way that I formatted this cell. And so if this is the full amount of the payment, and this is the amount going towards interest, the amount going towards principal is $11.99 minus 1,000, $199.10. Okay, then our ending balance here is going to be $200,000. The beginning balance minus the amount we're reducing the principal, so our balance goes down to $199,800. All right. So the cool thing about amortization tables is once you get the first row or two set up, it's pretty easy from there on out. So we're going to say the beginning balance in month 2 is going to be equal to the ending balance for month 1, but then the formulas are exactly the same in the next columns. So we're going to say for monthly payment it's going to be the same exact amount, right? Towards interest is going to be the current balance times 0.5%. The difference between the total payment and the interest is your amount you're reducing the principal, and then we're going to take the beginning balance minus the reduction of principal. That gives us our ending balance. Okay? So now we have 2 rows set up. We can copy, highlight the cells, you click Control C, and we can go all the way down to row 3, period number 360, and highlight all of these cells, click Control V, and we get our complete table filled out. And the coolest thing is you'll notice down here at the bottom, if you do your amortization table correctly, your ending balance should be 0, and that's exactly what we have here. It's off maybe by a penny or less than a penny because of rounding, but that's exactly what we get. Total interest here, if we wanted to figure out what's the total amount of interest that we're going to pay over the life of this mortgage, we can do sum of all of these interest payments. All right, so if you click page up, it'll go a little bit faster, and it looks like our total interest payments on this loan is $231,676.38, which is pretty crazy given that the loan was only $200,000. But that's what happens when you take a loan for this amount and you pay it off over this time period. You pay a lot of money in interest expense. But that's the complete setup of the loan amortization table. Hopefully this showed you some useful skills in terms of creating formulas and doing some present value calculations in Excel. All right, guys, take care.